Pramakaranam, Pramanam. The one that gives you knowledge is called a Pramana. Not authority, but a means of knowledge. Then to clarify further, we say Abhadita Anadigata Jnana Janakam Pramanam. Pramanam is that which will give you Abhaditam Jnanam, knowledge which cannot be negated. Like the example of the snake rope. The snake that you see on the rope is not knowledge because it is negated. It's not Abhaditam, it is Bhaditam. But this rope itself is Abhaditam, cannot be negated. Within the example, Vyavahara Kale, at the time of your transactions, in the functioning world. For Abhaditam Jnanam, Anadigatam Jnanam, knowledge which is not gained by any other means of knowledge. Because what the eyes can give you, the ears cannot give you. What the ears cannot give you, the eyes cannot give you. Therefore, each pramana is independent by itself. Okay? Therefore, anadigatam. Not adigatam before, not known before, or not known by any other means. We include not known before to avoid memory. Otherwise, memory also will become knowledge. You can remember a knowledge. Hopefully, you will remember the knowledge that you gained yesterday. Okay. That is fine. But it is like when I am summing up today, I am not giving any new knowledge. I am only reiterating something I have said before. Anadigatam. Therefore, Abhadita, Anadigata, Jnana Janakam, Pramanam. It's simple. Then we said, we are going to examine various means of knowledge available to us first as human beings. When you say Jnanam, in Vedanta, first thing Jnanam is what? Myself. Jnanam is knowledge. Every talk of a pramana is presupposed by the pramata, the knower being there. I, as a self-evident, self-existing entity, should be there to use a means of knowledge to know anything. That's a given. I being there. Science accepts that when it says there is no event without an observer. But then after that it goes a bit off track when it says consciousness is an evolute of matter. What you call as mind consciousness is an evolute of matter. There is where science goes a bit haywire because according to the present scientific model, the theory of creation, the theory of how the world came into being is Big Bang. So if Big Bang was an event, who was the observer? Because consciousness is evolute later. So who is the observer of the Big Bang? Or are you saying the event happened without an observer? And then the observer evolved a few billion years later, and then in retrospectively he is observing. It all goes haywire. It doesn't stand to any test of reason. So that's what it looks like science is saying. Therefore, in Vedanta we start the other way around. What is consciousness. Sadeva saumyadamagram asid ekameva advitiyam brahma. Before all this manifested creation was there, what is there is only one consciousness, one existence consciousness. From that all this came into being. How we will see later. So the pramata, the knower, is a given. We also saw the limitation of the photometric theory of perception, which is what is used in science. There is another simple way of showing the limitation of photometry, which I not said yesterday. Even the kids in school will tell me, light is what? Straight line or wave motion? Okay. Even Rekha's daughter will tell me that. Light is a wave motion. But your spectacles work on the principle that it is straight line. So really speaking, according to photometry, this should not work. With a wave motion, it should get scattered. But it is not. Why? It works. I see all clearly. So we saw that photometry theory of perception is limited because it cannot explain error. Of how you are mistaking the rope for a snake. Of how, in spite of looking, you are not seeing because your mind is elsewhere. Therefore, in the Vedanta model of perception, we bring in the necessity of the mind. That for every observation, for every object, there has to be a relevant thought. What you see is the thought. Therefore, if the thought is rope, you will see the rope as it is. If for some reason the thought is snake, you will not see the rope, you will see the snake. It's only by bringing in the thought you can explain away error. An erroneous perception forms a major chunk of your life anyway. Yeah. So you can't avoid that. Therefore, if you follow the scientific model, then what the Nayayika says, Indriya Sannikarsham Jnanam. Perception is when the sense organ comes into contact with the object. That is how perception is. In Vedanta, we define it slightly different. The definitions are used for a technical purpose later on. When the object of knowledge and the knower is connected by the thought. Simple as that. So the object of knowledge and the knower are in one and the same place because of the thought. All this we saw yesterday in detail. I'm just summing it up. So this is perception. But perception can also be what is inside. There also, the object of knowledge, the thought, inside. Like how you see your emotions. Can put it as Sakshi Vetyam, known directly to you, the knower, without the necessity of a sense organ. Why? Because the thought, which is the object of knowledge, the knower, which is the consciousness manifest in the mind, and the knowing thought, all are in the one and the same place.
Is it intuition? Intuition.
What is your question?
Is it intuition?
Sorry?
Intuition.
We'll come to that question. So all this is one and the same place. So this is what perception would be with respect to an object outside or with respect to an object inside. This is where it is. Up to this, we saw yesterday very elaborately. Any clarifications you need on this?
This Sakshi Vetyam and perception.
Sakshi Vetyam?
And perception.
It's a form of, any internal perception can be called Sakshi Vetyam. When you perceive your thoughts, your emotions, etc., it is called Sakshi Vetyam. Where you don't need the sense organ having its play. Sense organ, not only the golakas outside, sense organ which is there in the mind, your ability to see, etc.
Even that is not.
That's not necessary, because already inside you. What is confusing? Something seems to be confusing.
One is all these five sense organs are not required. But you said insight is also not required. Sukshma is also not required.
Right now there is confusion in your mind. There's a doubt in your mind.
Yes.
How are you knowing that doubt? What sense organ are you using?
Yeah, I am not using.
Exactly. That's called Sakshi Vedya. What you're doing right now. I am not propounding a theory that you have to practice. I am just talking about a theory to explain what you're doing already. So already you know I have a doubt. You know that. I'm only saying how you know that. So that process of knowing that doubt is called Sakshi Vedya. Or, you can also put it like this. The doubt is there in your mind. The object of knowledge is your doubt. There in your mind. The knower is where? With the mind. Exactly. Consciousness with the mind. So the knowing thought is automatically there. That's it. So when you turn your focus to the doubt, you know it. When you turn your focus to an emotion, you know it.
But
So,
all this I see through mind only.
huh? All this is?
Through the mind.
I didn't hear what you saying.
All these I see through the mind. Isn't
Correct. All this is in the mind. All knowing is in the mind.
it? So Sakshi.
Without the mind, there is no knowing. Understand this. You people have been exposed to too much of other thinking. Without the mind, there is no knowing. Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. The Upanishad is very clear in that.
But after clearance of that doubt, after clearing the doubt, then it is confirmed with what is the knowledge, right?
So that is also knowledge which is evident to you.
But that is also in the mind.
Correct. Where else is knowledge going to be if not in the mind?
The consciousness is the knowledge, no?
Huh?
Consciousness is the knowledge.
Consciousness manifests in thought. Pure consciousness is not knowledge. That is the lakshana of the word knowledge. What is the difference between you consciousness and... There is my prop. Yeah. What is the difference between you consciousness and the knowledge of this pen?
The pen is within my consciousness.
Therefore,
Therefore, it is a pen.
now, is the pen in your consciousness or is it not in your consciousness?
It is within my consciousness.
Huh?
It is within my consciousness.
It's within your consciousness?
I don't see it.
Where do you see it?
No, I don't see it.
You don't see it.
So it is not within my consciousness. No, after seeing that,
One second, can you see where the confusion is there in you? When we say the pen is in my consciousness now, we are talking about the all-pervading consciousness manifest in your mind as a knower. Clear to everyone? The consciousness manifests in your mind makes you the knower. So when you are saying this pen is in your consciousness, we are talking about that. When we are saying this pen is still in your consciousness, we are talking about the nature of pure consciousness, which includes everything in itself. One is manifested, the other is talking about pure consciousness. Okay? That pure consciousness part, in this camp I have not talked about. I still have to elaborate it. But I am taking a little thing for granted because most of you, almost all of you, have been exposed to Vedanta. Barring one or two, all of you have been exposed to it.
Memory comes in this.
Huh?
Memory.
Louder please, I can't hear. See, remember one thing. With the mic, people were complaining that you can't hear. When you ask me a question, you are speaking without the mic, so speak louder.
Memory. there is, right, the pen was not seen, but I have the memory of that pen.
Correct. So is memory knowledge? No. Memory is memory. How reliable is your memory? Okay, but not very reliable. Yeah. Memory, yeah.
In the scheme of knowing, where does buddhi figure?
Where does?
Intellect.
Buddhi.
Intellect.
Intellect, buddhi. Buddhi is part of your mind only. No? Where else is it? These are all terms. See, when you listen to Vedanta, you get a lot of terminology. Buddhi is what? See, there is only one antakarna. One stuff inside. Correct? One antakarna. With respect to doubt, emotions, etc., you will call it mind. This is all modern Vedanta issues. With respect to reasoning, decision, etc., you will call it buddhi. What? The same looming thoughts. The same thoughts in your mind gain different names depending upon function. It's all antakarna only. Memory, same. Mind only, na? Ahankara, mind only, na? Your idea of yourself. I am like this only. It's all mind. It's all mental concepts. Now you are giving different names just so that you are focusing on different function. Yeah. Manaha, because emotions are involved. Buddhihi, because reasoning is involved, decisions are involved. Functioning differences only. Don't take them as separate realities. Otherwise you'll have a nightmare in your mind. What all things are there inside? I thought I came to Vedanta to study about one Atma. And now you're putting 19 stuff into my mind. No problem. Then someone asked about intuition. Does intuition exist? Yes. Is it a pramana? No. It's not a means of knowledge. Because a pramana, I will elaborate this later if there is time, a pramana does not need to be validated. Again, my prop. What am I holding in my hand? What is giving you the knowledge of the pen? Your perception. Does this perception has to be validated by something else?
No.
Inference, etc.?
No.
Okay. Therefore, a pramana stands by itself. It is swata pramanam. It stands by itself. Is pramanyam, the state of it being a pramana, is validated by itself, not by anything else. Now, I am intuiting something. Are you hungry? She's saying no. Now, why did I ask her that question? An intuitive thought in my mind, saying, maybe she's hungry. She says, no. What happened to my intuition? No. She's wearing a pink dress. Do I have to verify it? I mean, what I take as pink, we are men. There are only 7 colors we recognize, okay? The 7 colors of the rainbow we recognize. Peach is not a color, peach is a fruit for men, okay? Yeah, then I made a joke once. If orange is a color, how come apple is not a color? And one of my designer students came and said, no, there is something called apple green. I said, okay. We men don't recognize those things. So, that it is pink, I don't have to verify whether it is, she's hungry or not. Intuitive thought has to be verified. How do you know that your own subjective thinking, because I am feeling hungry, is not projected onto her and saying she is hungry? Sometimes it may be right. When I asked her, I don't know whether she's hungry or not. Intuition. It may be right, it may be wrong. Intuition has to be verified. Therefore, it doesn't stand, it doesn't gain the status of a pramana, a means of knowledge. We all are intuitive in some form or the other. This is our animal brain working, your amygdala, etc. working. We all are intuitive. I am highly intuitive to danger because of the experiences I have gone through. Any danger anywhere I'll pick up fast. Yeah. Saved my life. Yeah, quite often. It happens because we are intuitive. But there are plenty of times when the intuition has gone wrong also. Verification. Therefore, intuition exists. It's a function of your mind. It's not a pramana. Yeah?
Sometimes you are able to anticipate what the other man is thinking.
Correct. You can. If you're a logical person, you will know the thought process. There's a pattern in a thought process. So you'll know. And sometimes it is intuitive. Because we all are connected with empathy. Our sense of empathy. What is empathy? Where you can understand somebody else's pain even is not your own and respond to that. Somebody else's emotion and respond to that. So that empathy connects all of us. Why even dogs have that. If you're disturbed, your dog will know that. Your pet dog will know that. Yeah. So intuition is there. I am not dismissing intuition. I am not giving it a status of being a pramana, a means of knowledge. That's all. And that, over-reliance on intuition is what creates problems in relationships. If he loves me, he should understand. How? I agree, a certain amount of love brings about a greater sense of empathy. Therefore, you are more intuitive to that person's needs. But that doesn't mean you will understand everything that the person is thinking or feeling or doing. But we encourage some myths like this. Years ago, when I was a young man, I was in this lady's house. I was sitting and chatting. Suddenly she goes inside and gets me a glass of water. So I looked up at her, because I didn't ask for water or anything. No, I had an intuitive feeling you are feeling thirsty. ये प्यार से लेके आया क्या करेगा? पी लेगा. पानी तो है, जहर तो नहीं है. Now what have I done? Out of love, you drank that water, and now she's confirmed belief that she can intuit what I need. Yo, Narayana. Problems. Now you know why people in love put on weight. एक दूसरे को बहुत खिलाते हैं. So, these myths keep going on. Intuition is there. I accept there is intuition. Some mothers are like that. There were days when my mother would wait at home, and say, what happened today to you? She sensed I was in some danger. Okay. So I'll say, no, nothing. No, I know something has happened. So I'll give her a very edited version of what happened. An edited version. Because she sensed it and she was right, and I can't keep lying to her, saying nothing happened. I'm supposed to speak the truth, so I can't lie. At the same time, if I said everything that has happened, she'll want me to be at home tied to her pallu all the time, which I can't be. So, I give her an edited version. And there are days when she walks in, what happened to you today? I said, nothing. No, something has happened. I said, nothing has happened. If it has happened, I will tell you, no? No, you're not telling me She got an intuition which is not true. मैं क्या करूँगी? I have to cook up something. No. अभी गर्लफ्रेंड रहता तो थोड़ा कुछ कुकिंग अप करता था, लेकिन माँ है कितना कुकिंग अप करेगा? Are you getting the idea? This intuition can be right, intuition can be wrong. But your perception of colors, this, that, etc. doesn't have to be verified. Can be wrong. You can have a wrong perception. That's where the theory of error comes in. If you doubt, you have to verify it. And the doubt comes because there is a possibility of error. Therefore, error needs to be dismissed. Whereas knowledge of something stands by itself. This is, what is the color? It's supposed to be gherwa, whatever, but it's not really gherwa. Whatever. It stands by itself. It doesn't have to be verified. Therefore, a pramana stands by itself. Intuition does not stand by itself. Has to be followed through. Verified. Though intuition is useful in your functioning, but you always have to be careful when you are intuitive. People have died because of intuitive responses. People's lives have also been saved because of intuitive responses. Therefore, it's a dicey game. Okay? Therefore, pramana it is not. Intuition exists? Yes. Pramana it is not. Can you develop your intuition? Yes. Exactly like how you can develop your perception. Your perception can be developed with greater focus, etc. You can develop your abilities of perception. You can develop your abilities of reasoning, cognitive reasoning, anumanam, which is the next one. You can develop, similarly you can develop intuition. But at no time will it gain the status of a means of knowledge. So this much for all this was summing up what we did yesterday. Okay? Any other questions? Oh, that's